Daniel Hagari, the chief IDF spokesman, is holding a press conference, and he's holding it in English, which is unusual. Let's listen to what he's saying.
Dozens of attack drones, as well as cruise missiles and ballistic missiles, outside of Israel's border. A number of Iranian missiles fell inside Israeli territory, causing minor damage to a military base with no casualties. Only one little girl has been hurt, and we hope she will be well. The Iranian attack is ongoing. Our plans are in the air. Tonight, wide-scale attack by Iran is a major escalation. Together with our allies and partners, we are operating at full force to defend the state of Israel and the people of Israel. We will continue to fulfill this mission. Questions, please.
CNN is asking, what type and how many projectiles have been fired towards Israel tonight so far? And how many drones and missiles have been intercepted? And can you specify by region?
The event is still occurring, but until now, over 200 different kinds have been fired to Israel. Killer drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles. We have already intercepted a vast majority of the threats by Israeli systems and with assistance from our partners. We are still in the event, our plans are still in the air, intercepting targets, and we are ready for any threat that will come to Israel. We will do everything we need, everything, to defend the state of Israel. Thank you very much.
All right, so Daniel Hagari typically gives very, very brief news conferences, Sandra, and he's saying that the attack is still ongoing. Some 200 drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles have been fired so far at Israel. Most of them, he says, have been intercepted, which is very good news. One fell near a military base. No casualties, with the exception that a young girl sustained some injuries which do not appear to be life-threatening.
Yeah, that little girl, 10 years old, we absolutely hope for the best for her. And as you heard from the very end there, we are ready for any threat that comes our way. We are ready to defend Israel. And John, as we were reporting just a few moments ago, as Trey Yinks was reporting just a few moments ago, the President Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu are on the phone right now. Fox has confirmed this. That conversation is happening right now. We hope to get a readout from that call and an update from the White House shortly, John.
Looking forward to that. Okay, Keith Kellogg is still on the phone with us. Keith, there was some chatter coming out of Iran that the main target for this attack was the Nebatim Air Base, which is near Dimona, near Beersheba. It's also very close to to Israel's nuclear facility, rather. But I thought that this was interesting. You say that this is different than the al-Assad attack back in 2020. But I thought it was interesting that Iran made it known, even before the first drones had entered Israeli airspace, that this is over. We're done. We did this under Article 51 of the UN Charter. That's it, but we'll keep watching to see what Israel does. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think it's a bad misread. And what I mean by a misread is you always have to look through somebody else's lens, your opponent's lens, when you make a call like that. With us, it was different, because I remember when we were sitting in the Situation Room, and because of persistent overhead observation, we saw the missiles actually, basically cameras on balloons. We could see the missiles sitting at Al-Assad Air Base. And we were sitting in the Situation Room with the president, the vice president, the Homeland Security team. And we sat there for 5-6 minutes, didn't say a word. And the president looked up and he said, "We're done," and walked out the door. And that was it. We realized that they had given us a pre-advance notice that through the Swiss, through the protecting power, that they were going to hit dirt, and they did. And then we said, okay, that's done. This is different, because this is an attack on Israel proper. Going after Dimona was, boy, that's a stretch, because the Dimona is their, that is their nuclear facility in Israel. And if they were attacking that, and they could have hit it if they wanted to, but with precision weapons, it would have changed dramatically what was happening there in Israel. But apparently they haven't hit it yet, and not targeted it completely, because they could hit it if they wanted to. I just think everybody has to sit back and say, what does it look like in the daylight when light shows up they're 7 hours again ahead of us. And what are they targeting? What do they do? Is it counter-value targeting, counter-force targeting? Counter-force means going after military installations. Counter-value means you're going after civilian targets. What kind of targets were being hit? But what I'm talking about a misread is that I think they misread Netanyahu, and they misread the way the Israelis look at this. Now, maybe the discussion between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu can kind of change that dynamic of him basically saying, "We got your back, and you don't have to respond." But that's what the president needs to say publicly to the American people, not in a private discussion, because he's not just addressing Netanyahu. He's just not addressing the American people. He's addressing the world, and he's setting a condition. I think that needs to be done. So again, I'll just close the circle by saying this, John. I think right now the missiles are still coming in, the drones are still hitting. Let's see what happens in the morning, because generally speaking, there's a great Army axiom: the first report is always wrong. Let's see what happens.
General, just going through what we just heard there from the Israeli officials on the approximately 200 missiles that have been launched, they're now saying toward Israel. Very few missiles fell inside Israel, but as we just heard, one caused very small and limited damage to a military base. One 10-year-old girl was injured, we just heard. The event has not ended yet. We know that this conversation is happening with Netanyahu and Biden right now. And General, you go back to Iran vowing revenge. Since April 1st, since that airstrike in Syria killed 2 Iranian generals inside the Iranian consular building, our message from President Biden this week was don't. Well, here we are. So now they're having this phone call. What do you imagine the conversation is between these two leaders right now?
Yeah, well, Sandra, great question, because President Biden said don't, Secretary Blinken said don't, and Lloyd Austin also said don't. Well, with the response that Netanyahu should say, well, they're doing. And that's a response. And part of that is because we have not convinced them that there's real deterrence in the Middle East supported by the United States. The Israelis have a better defense and a better deterrence message than we do, because we haven't sent a clear message. Here's the clear message we should have sent. And the clear message we should have sent when missiles started flying from the Houthis and the missiles supported by the Iranians in the Red Sea is we should have put on the bottom of the sea the spy ship the Iranians had that was doing the targeting there in the Red Sea. That sends your message out. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see the Israelis not accept this message. They're going to send a message back. And the message back is, we'll make the decision when it's over. And we're going to send a very clear message back to you that this is unacceptable. I think what you're going to see Biden telling Netanyahu is, look, don't go there. Don't really, don't get them all, fired up about it. Yeah. I don't think Netanyahu's going to listen to him at all. I think they're going to respond.
All right, General Kellogg, if you could stand by with us as the news breaks, and this seems to be changing by the minute, as we heard from Trey Inkst on the ground there. And by the way, an update from Trey. We did lose signal with him there. He is fine, and we will hear again from him shortly. John?
All right. Thanks, General.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.